This August 12th, 2025 Town Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Greg Brewer.
Here.
Brian Burney.
Here.
Chad Gooding.
Here.
Scott Jones.
Here.
John Price.
Here. Please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, first order of business is the approval of our July 8th, 2025 council meeting minutes. Any revisions, adjustments that need to be made?
I move we approve the July 8th, 2025 council meeting minutes.
Second.
It's been a first, a second to approve the July 8th, 2025 council meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. At this time, I'm going to open up the mic for public comments for non-agenda items for the evening. If you have any comments, please come up, state your name and for the record. Anybody?
I'm Dottie Salisbury, 9260 Brookview Avenue, to work on the noise issue of Daniel's Vineyard. We've been blessed beyond measure this summer to be free of the pounding music from Daniel's outdoor concerts for hours at a time. So far this summer, there's only been one such evening and one afternoon. The outdoor concerts, when they're going, are nonstop loud pounding music that goes on for 4 or 5 hours and is really beyond disruptive in our home and irritating. There was one concert this summer that was indoors. We could hear it, but very, very vaguely. It was not disruptive in our home. So I thank you, as our town council, for your role in making a difference. What a difference it has been. We are very, very appreciative. Fred and I pray that it will continue, and so do many of our neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other non-agenda public comments? Okay, we're going to move on then. Committee reports. Parks Board.
Since our last meeting, the Parks Board has met twice. First one was on Monday, July 14th, which was right after our last council meeting. And at that meeting, we received summaries of a number of events. A new thing has started called the Walking Club. It's been an amazing success. 88 signed up for the first evening walks, I think. And originally it was supposed to be in the morning, not maybe 2 a day. But it's a big crowd walking. It's started on the McCordsville Square walking path, and 20 attended the first one, and then 58 signed up for the next one. Now the next one was like 88. Cars and Coffee has almost doubled in size. It's still growing. It fills up McCord Square with over 300 cars. So if you haven't been to one, make sure you go. Robotics camp was much smaller. We thought it wasn't going to go, but it actually did. There were 2, and there were 7 attendees in each. We finally had the Live at McCord Square movie, which kept getting rained out. I think appropriately was titled If or something like that, if we ever have a movie. We finally had it, I think, on August 2nd. The multi-sports camp, unfortunately, did not occur. We had a lot of people signed up. A lot of kids were disappointed. It was canceled by the vendor, not by the town. I think because some people they were relying on to provide volunteers sort of backed out at the last minute and they couldn't do it. And we didn't have any backfill for that, so the multi-sports camp kind of was a bust. We did have Remember the Titans for Live at McCord Square movie night, and so all the events were off to a good start, and mostly that was a meeting of recaps. Then we had a special meeting actually last night to consider the bids for planning out our 5-year parks plan. We had 3 bidders, and we did not select the low bidder. They were all between 40 and 50, but we're not required to select the low bidder here, I understand, because it's the most responsive. The principal lives locally and will be dealing with the principal rather than kind of a stand-in. And then she did agree to reduce the price for the contract. And so interviews and selection were recommended and done by staff to the recommended Parks Board, and the Parks Board concurred. So I believe we selected Cornerstone Consulting. The Christmas tree that we had ordered from Outdoor Lighting for McCord Square, since there's no big trees over there, and we have a Christmas tree in McCord Square this year, and it's a 35-footer. It's not natural, but it has arrived and it's been put together. It's going to look nice, I think. It has to be put up and taken down every year. But we've got LEDs on it that can be changed out and so on, so that'll be good for Christmas time over there. Our old school park is getting close to a soft opening. The main apparatus over there has got a tubular thing that's totally encloses the kids as they go down, and it winds around. And 2 of the sections somehow were crushed in transit, and when those things get replaced, that's the final thing. We learned, I think, the hard way that we needed breakaway backboards on the basketball courts, which are already being used. Back on the 5-year plan, the Parks Board did approve that and authorized it to be signed pending review of the actual contract language by Town Attorney Beth Copeland. And then Brandon Williams, the Parks Board President, is authorized to sign it. So we don't have to take action here tonight. And that's the end of the Parks report.
Thank you, Dr. Burney. Redevelopment Commission did meet, and a couple things from this last meeting. Just an update on the Villages of Brookside, Emerald Springs stoplight that's being put in. That was talked about and discussed, and approval of money from the RDC to pay for that, their portion of that project. And then Tim did a presentation on his concept of a ag park idea for off the 600s. There's some land available with a round barn and other things, and being able to potentially look at using some funds to turn that into an agricultural museum and park area. So those were the items from Redevelopment Commission. Vernon Township Fire Committee, we met actually today at 4:45 briefly to discuss entering into recommending a purchase agreement for some land from the Jacoby Family Farms for a 3rd fire station location in the future. So they'll be making an offer on at least the purchase of land. No discussion yet on building a new station, but at least securing the land for future needs. Metropolitan Police Board.
We actually met twice as well. So last month, relatively short meeting, there was the general monthly Lexipol updates, and then they also presented to the Police Commissioner Board the proposed budget for next year, which was recommended for us to approve. And then we met again last week for about 5 minutes just to approve an offer to a new officer.
Right. I know. So also, where Chief Casey and his group has open application right now for 4 officers on social media. So it looks like they're busy. Public Works Commission.
We did not meet.
Architectural Review Committee.
Architectural Review Committee met on Tuesday, July 15th. We looked at Fisher Homes' request for recommendation on a product lineup for their Lane Farms and Hampton Walk for areas A and B. Had some long discussion. We approved some models and others we didn't. Some we had approved back in May, and one of the issues was whether or not they needed to have porches, as we've traditionally required in McCordsville. We require coverage over the entry and at least 24 square feet in a lot of the PUDs. And some of their models were of a design that a porch wasn't necessarily required or appropriate for the elevation to look good. So I think we did approve some of those. They submitted for additional elevations to the Hampton Walk subdivision. That was Fisher Homes. Fisher Homes is doing both Lane Farms and Hampton Walk. Lane Farms is south of Hampton Walk, but shares a boundary with the southern border of Hampton Walk, and it's the northern boundary of Lane. But we approved additional elevations to Hampton Walk as submitted. And the other new business, that was old business, the other new business was InPower's request for approval of architectural design for lots 3 of the Patch Business Development Park. This was a stunningly beautiful modern building with modern materials, some of which none of us had ever really seen. I believe it's the headquarters for InPower, which is a national, I think, electrical parts distributor. So that will be a really nice improvement to McCordsville. It's a really amazing looking building. And I remember back when we couldn't fully staff our police department, and now we have 19 uniformed officers in the uniform division. Big improvement.
Awesome.
Agreed.
Plan Commission.
Yeah, the Planning Commission did meet on July 15th, right after the Architectural Review Committee. A lot of the items that went through the Planning Commission are on the agenda tonight. I'll just quickly skip through a few of them. Holy Cross Lutheran Church requested a favorable recommendation for rezoning. The Colonnade PUD made a request to change their PUD to eliminate the requirement for 3-story townhouses and have them as a 2-story, and that was approved. There's also, the shops at Brookside had a number of points that they wanted to bring. Their primary development plan was approved, but they also wanted to make some changes and add a drive-through. And we got into this whole discussion about pickup windows versus drive-through windows, and eventually that solved itself. And last but not least is we reviewed the proposal for changing the zoning, and that's on the agenda for tonight.
All right. Thank you, everyone. McCord Square Review Committee did not meet, so we'll move on.
Mr. President,
yeah.
just want to note there's some issue with the YouTube stream. You can actually get it on Safari Apple products, but not on Microsoft. So we're not sure what's going on, but we are recording it both locally and then we're streaming to, but certain people might not be able to see it.
All right. Okay, so thank you. Consent agenda's next item of business. At this time, if there's anything that the council member would like to pull it off. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Make a
Move to
motion.
approve the consent agenda.
Second?
There's been a first and second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Okay, first item of business is old business. This is a second reading, an ordinance amending the Helms Mill PUD. Ryan, I believe you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, I'll just briefly introduce this tonight, and then John Isaac and my office here having to answer any questions or provide further information. So a while back, it was identified by MI and a few other builders that our 24-inch corner, outside corner masonry wrap requirement can be challenging to meet. And so this is the first of a few requests that are going to move forward to the council requesting to eliminate that standard from the PUD in lieu of adding a trim board and then a pick list of other items to pick from in lieu of the 24-inch masonry outside corner wrap. So that's what this request is. This request simply formalizes that into language in the form of a PUD amendment. This has been to Plan Commission and ARC. Both have recommended approval of it.
Okay.
And we're happy to answer any questions you have or dig into some details with the petitioner.
And we need to have a public hearing on this?
No, we do not.
All right. Does anybody want to talk about this? Anybody for or against it? Okay.
I think it's a good compromise of our corner wraps. Gives a lot of options to choose from. I'm not quite sure who came up with the pick list. I like the last thing on there, which is kind of an open-ended item. Like, look at the elevations and anything else the architectural committee could come up with that would make that elevation look good. So we're giving something up, but we're getting a lot in return, I think. And I think it'll be a stunning improvement overall to our PUDs.
Great. If there's no other comments or concerns, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve ordinance 070825B.
Second.
It's been a first and second to approve ordinance 070825B, an ordinance amending the Helms Mill PUD. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 5-0. Next order of business is new business. This is a resolution. It's a fiscal plan for the Holy Cross Lutheran Church annexation of plus or minus 40 acres at 7890 North County Road 475 West. Ryan, you handling this, or Holly? All right.
So yes, we have the fiscal plan resolution. We also have the annexation ordinances as well as the rezone ordinance for Holy Cross. As a reminder, this land is currently ag use. It's going to continue to be ag use until the petitioner is ready to start developing it, which we anticipate being a handful of years down the road. The rezone has some commitments attached to them, addressing both the current ag use. We are rezoning this from county R1 to town R1. In town R1, that ag use would have to receive special exception approval from the BZA. The commitment allows that use to continue. We don't feel that that continued use is a concern or detriment to the town. The commitment also addresses signage. It allows the petitioner to have temporary signage on the site announcing their joining the town, as well as programming that they have going on in the community for longer than our typical temporary signage permit would allow. So this commitment allows them to have that signage with landscaping around it, as our zoning requires, for a period up to 5 years or until they're ready to develop, whichever happens first.
Okay.
And the petitioner is here with her sidekick if you wish to speak to them.
I have no concern. I mean, it's good use for the property, I think, so. Any other concerns, questions for petitioner or Holly or Ryan? Not on, entertain a motion on the resolution.
I move we approve resolution 081225.
Second.
There's been a first and second to approve resolution 081225, a fiscal plan for the Holy Cross Lutheran Church annexation of plus or minus 40 acres at 7890 North County Road 475 West. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. All right, next order of business is a second reading and final action or potential final action on ordinance number 070825, an ordinance to annex in plus or minus 20 acres at 7890 North County Road 475 West into the town's corporate limits for Holy Cross Lutheran Church. Holly, are you handling this too, or?
Yes, just to continue what I said earlier, this is the first of the two annexation ordinances. The first 20 acres, and your next one will be the next 20 acres.
Any questions for Holly, Ryan, or the petitioner? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Or, we already had a public hearing on this at Plan Commission, right?
We had it here a couple months ago.
Yeah, nobody, okay, just making sure, I want to make sure we do that. All right, to entertain a motion.
Make a motion to pass ordinance 070825A.
Second.
There's been a first and second to approve ordinance number 070825. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Well, that property's in. Okay, this is a second reading also on ordinance number 070825A, an ordinance to annex in the other 20 acres at 7890 North County Road 475 West into the town's corporate limits. So just for anybody who's watching at home, this is because it's two parcels, and we have to do it that way.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 070825A.
There's been a first and second to approve ordinance number 070825A. Oh, that was the wrong one, sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Sorry, I got my paperwork all screwed up. No, it's a resolution. Okay, well, welcome to the town. Thanks. Okay, resolution. This is very confusing. Sorry, guys. All right, that's the first ordinance. Okay, all right. Next order of business. Oh, second reading. This is ordinance to rezone plus or minus 40 acres at 7890 North County Road 475 West. County R1 to R-1 for Holy Cross Lutheran Church. Any questions, concerns, thoughts on that?
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 081225.
Second.
There's been a first and second to approve ordinance number 081225. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's 5-0. All right, this is the second annexation for you guys. Okay, sorry. Lost my place. Oh.
E.
E. All right, this is a first reading, and we will be holding a public hearing on ordinance number 081225A, an ordinance to annex plus or minus 361 acres, generally located east of County Road 500 West, south of the town's current limits, west of County Road 400 West, and north of State Road 67 into the town's corporate limits by Lennar Homes of Indiana. Do we have someone from Lennar petitioner? Great.
Good evening, members of the council. Thank you for having our team here tonight. My name is Taylor Navarre with Lennar Homes. I'm an entitlements manager. Our address is 11555 North Meridian Street in Carmel. With us here tonight, we've got Chris Miller, our land acquisition manager, and our legal counsel, Brian Toohey. We also have members of the Kelly family here with us tonight who represent a portion of the sellers on this land and represent the namesake in this community and have been great partners throughout this process. Real quick, I know that this is two agenda items for both the annexation and the rezone. Should we just cover both presentations at once? Okay, great.
It'll work.
And I guess I'll just give you the signal. So the subject site is approximately 396 acres in total, located on the northeast section of McCordsville's town's limits between County Roads 500 and 400 West, east of the 500 and 900 intersection. It is bordered by the Haven Pond and Helms Mill developments to the north, Somerton and Alexander Ridge to the west, State Road 67 to the south, and County Road 400 to the east. Our team has been working with 9 sellers on the assemblage of land on this site, with several members of the Kelly family representing the largest portions of the land. The annexation and rezone of the site will complete the town's northeast quadrant in this area and will allow for smart growth to occur with a master planned residential community that will be developed over the course of approximately 10 years. It also allows the town to achieve several goals established in its comprehensive plan, such as providing a wide range of housing types, the extension of the regional trail system, and the construction of several road improvement projects identified in the area. The vision for Kelly Landing is to create a community where the history of the land intertwines with the promise of its vibrant future. We have worked with the Kellys to learn about their family history on the site, which dates to the 1850s when family members settled here from Ireland. As the Kellys, as well as the other settlers involved, move on to their next chapter in life, Kelly Landing will be a community that honors its past while creating a place where residents can make new memories and build their own legacies. Kelly Landing is a multi-generational community that offers a wide range of product types that will provide options for those who are new homeowners and all the way up to executive buyers. The site has been designed to be interconnected throughout, while also creating pockets where residents can have a village-like neighborhood experience. Rather than separate developments pieced together over time, this master plan development will allow multiple product types to be blended in the different areas in the site for a more cohesive feel here. There will also be significant road and trail improvements as part of the community, including the construction of a new roundabout at County Roads 500 and 900, as well as the realignment of County Road 500 there to the southwest of the site, and the extension of County Road 900 through the site over to 400 West, which equates to roughly over a mile in total length there. The trail network installed with the community will also serve as an extension of the regional Geist Greenway Trail and will offer over a mile pathway just in Kelly Landing alone. All of these improvements are identified as future projects in the comprehensive plan as well. The high-class amenities of Kelly Landing will be a focal point of the community and designed to be a place where all the residents can walk to and gather. If you could go to the next slide, thank you. The large centralized amenity center sits adjacent to the pond and trail system and further activates the space and the accessibility there. The center will feature a resort-style pool that also serves as a lap pool for community swim meets, and will also have pickleball and bocce courts and gathering spaces with fire pits and a potential overlook on the pond there. The clubhouse building, as shown in its conceptual form here, will be roughly over 10,000 square feet in size and will offer multiple fitness and multi-purpose areas for residents to enjoy and use. These amenities will really set the community apart and are unmatched in Hancock County and really the market here in general. Thank you. The multi-generation product offering in Kelly Landing will offer a wide range of housing types that will attract and retain residents that want to live here in McCordsville. There will be products for young professionals, move-up family buyers, those seeking low-maintenance living, and those looking for executive-level homes. The next number of slides are illustrative renderings that we have reflecting the various building types that we've identified in the PUD ordinance. We can flip through those however fast you want to, Ryan. The building types are associated with their own set of development standards and architectural standards within the PUD. These products are blended throughout the community overall, with the exception of one reserve pocket area to the north of County Road 900 in the center of the site that is reserved for some of the executive homes, which will back up to the large pond and wooded areas in the site. Here is an anticipated zoning schedule, just an update from the last time we were here before you last month. The next steps for us will be to conduct a neighborhood meeting for the site, which we are shooting for the week of September 8th. Followed by a public hearing at Plan Commission on September 16th, and then anticipating coming back to you all at Town Council on October 14th. So in summary, Kelly Landing offers a unique opportunity for a master planned community that's been intentionally designed. The 396-acre site offers a wide range of product types. We'll have a maximum density of 2.75 dwelling units per acre, and will consist of approximately 44% of open space in the community. The high-class amenities will also be unmatched in the area, again, in Hancock County and the market in general. And the road and trail improvements will offer significant capital investments in the area, as identified here with our rough estimates of investment. Again, this is a planned and phased development that will take place over the course of 10 years, so it won't be built all at once and will be phased out. So with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. We look forward to further discussion.
I got some concerns on it. First of all, let me just say this. I like the development, okay, but with a project of this size being dumped out on some of these roads, and I know it's a 10-year project, but we don't control the town. A lot of these roads, especially the 400 West Railroad Crossing with NDOT. Have you guys had discussions with either CSX, NDOT, the county as well, because the county has some of these roads? What kind of improvements or plans they have, or those? So I don't want to get into a situation where I'm approving an 800 home development and we have a debacle down the road with the roads. And I also have a concern with the 500, County Road 500 realignment, because that realigns, I know it's an S-curve right now, but now we're going to dump a lot more traffic right into the people who've already been living there for years without a traffic signal at a railroad crossing. It just, to me, I want to make sure there's some good road improvement plans in place before we start saying, oh yeah, go ahead and start building this, and then, 10 years down the road, or we're still having traffic issues, all because we allowed a plan like this. The other concern is, I'd like, personally, we're starting to look at some town center where we're getting some medical buildings and other professionals moving in. Or do you have any plans for more larger homes or executive homes on some of your bigger lots?
We do, and that is what I was referring to in this area right here.
All right.
You can see it's a little tucked away. It's got one entry point where all the other areas have multiple access, interconnected more. This, we're able to really build it out with larger homes featuring 3-car garages, carriage garages, optional basements, soil testing pending, and really offer premiums backing up to the existing wooded areas and this large pond area that would be creating.
My only other concern with that would be is you got one in and out point for executive homes. So what happens if the emergency services can't get back there? What's your backup plan?
Sure.
What do you have as an alternative way for our fire and EMS crews to get back there if there's some way they can't get in there?
Sure, and we could address that with the city and those respective agencies. I believe right now we are looking at roughly 80 or 90 or so home sites in that pocket. What we've done in similar situations is widen that entryway to be more of a boulevard style.
Okay.
So that can provide, proper access should it be needed at that entry point there. And that's what we're anticipating is more of an entry feature right there, tucked back and with that boulevard feel.
Okay, all right, just making sure that
Yeah,
that's addressed and looked at. So those are my concerns, really. Larger, making sure there's enough larger homes on these larger lots. Are you going to be the only builder, or do you think you might diversify and bring in a partner? Or
Right now, we are anticipating being the only builder
Okay.
here. Yeah. We're looking at offering, again, a wide range of probably 10 to 12 different product types blended throughout.
I think generally you need to consider to have 2 ways in and out of every collection of homes. The boulevard idea is nice, but if there's like a gas main explosion, which is typically located by an entrance or something, then the residents are trapped. Or if fire trucks block the way. If you have another way in and out that's more remote, it's just generally a good consideration for safety. And along the lines of what Mr. Brewer was saying on the roads, the particular concerns are at State Route 67, which runs through McCordsville, but which the town does not control. That's an NDOT road, and the CSX tracks, we certainly don't control those. And right there, right next to each other, the tracks are built up, as you know, very sharply. It's almost like a roller coaster ride in an amusement park. And the county's had to prohibit semi-traffic on those because they trap the trailers. The front of the trailer goes up, the middle of the trailer goes down and is caught on the track, and then the trailer can't move, and the trains hit them. So we need to do something about those elevations. I can't tell you exactly what to do, but there's 3 parties involved before you even get to the county. And I can tell you, I don't think it's going to be an easy solution. The second thing I want to raise is I'd like to ask you if you would consider resubmitting your application for voluntary annexation, which you submitted via your attorney, Brian Toohey, last month. The problem with this is the document that we saw, and there are 3 parcels that don't have property owner signatures here and aren't listed in this parcel. I think those are the Dawsons and I have their name or something.
Wilson
But
and
it's
Lomas.
There's 3 little parcels over on the western side, and those parcel numbers are not listed in here, and we don't have those property owner signatures, which we have to have. I understand that we now have them, but they're not in the document that was presented last month. And it'd be nice to have a complete document on file that has all of them together. And the other thing in that document is there's 2 parcels that are owned by trusts. And there are some Kelly signatures, they're Kelly trusts. One is irrevocable and one is a living trust. And the signatures from the Kellys there, I think, are probably the trustees, but they did not sign as trustees or identify themselves as trustees, and nothing says it represents that they are the trustees, and we don't have copies of the trust, which I don't think we could really require. But we would like to know that the trustees of those trusts, which do own those 2 parcels, have actually signed.
Can that be, Beth, can that be done through an attestation? Okay.
So if that could be cleaned up, that would be helpful to have in our files, I think.
The petition can be backdated to the date that it was, so we don't have to start the process over. It could be
Sure.
dated to the date that it originally was.
Okay.
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
could
we can
just
work
like,
on that. Yeah.
update it. I think you've got all the parts to it. You just need to put it together, and the person that signs for a trust generally signs John Smith, trustee for Irrevocable Trust for Bill Kelly or whatever.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't just sign their personal name,
No,
which
absolutely.
is what's on here.
We can clean that up.
And then it needs to be clear that when they're signing, that they're signing agreeing to be annexed, because you don't actually own the properties yet, I don't think.
No.
My third concern is this is a long-term plan. It's going to be a lot of construction over a long term. And I can tell you that living next to a development that even goes for 2 years, the surrounding infrastructure is not built to take the truck traffic and the increased traffic of construction. There's not places necessarily to get off the roads. There's utility trucks blocking the roads. The surrounding residents can be really disadvantaged. There's litter, there's construction traffic, the roads degrade, the edges of the roads get dug out for passing blisters, and then they aren't paved for the winter. We actually had one of our plow trucks overturned in one of those ditches beside the road that hadn't been filled in for the winter. I think it was on 750 last year. Our driver had a choice of taking out a vehicle or going off the road, and they rolled over. Unfortunately, I don't think there was an injury, but I'd like to have good attention paid to the integrity and upkeep of the surrounds. I mean, you're doing your thing and you lose track of that periphery of roads and their condition, and projects that are started and not completed before winter, and there's roads under construction that need to be signed and coned in accordance with engineer Witzman's guidance, and we have roads across from me. We're 2 years into it, and they never did have construction traffic sign, you know, and they all kinds of cone zones and stuff, and I've personally witnessed 2 collisions as a result of that. So, and the litter needs to get picked up. It's 10 years, and if they're building, the guys building come out and they've got their lunchtime wrappers from Mickey D's or KFC or whatever, and they blow everywhere. And you know, the surrounding residents don't need to be picking that up. And we can't go find Kentucky Fried Chicken. We can only find the vehicle we saw it blow out of. And we can't be doing that all the time, but there's a bunch of it. And it wasn't there before, it's not there now, but it will be there when you're building, and you guys need to see this done. And along the roads, when you build a trail or something, the weeds grow up along the trail before it's fine graded, need to be mowed, you know? And when you build the trail, you need to keep your skid steers off of it when it's hot, otherwise they'll crack it and break it. And you get water permeation, and we'll have to fix it as a town when it's turned over to us, so, if it is. So those are my concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Price.
Yeah, do you have a build-out plan as far as when you're gonna, you said it's spread over 10 years, what you're gonna start with, kind of year by year, so we get a feel for, because you've got, what, 6 different types of properties that you're marketing,
Yeah.
and so you're probably gonna wanna, you know, focus on one initially and then, you know, grow into the townhouses and so on, correct?
Exactly. It's a multi-piece puzzle here, for sure. A lot of it starts with infrastructure, with utilities and the road access. I think we definitely start on the western boundary with the roundabout areas and continuing the County Road 900 extension and bringing on as many products as we can online at the same time, but being mindful of that phasing. So that's something we're continuing to look at as we work with 9 different sellers as well to make sure everybody's accounted for. And I think phase 1, like I said, we'll start on the west side and we'll work east, again, so we can capture as much infrastructure and utilities to best serve the area. But we're continuing to look at that, and we can provide an update with you all later.
Sure. And another point, I know well, a lot of times the exterior, as far as the entranceways and some of the landscaping and so on, gets put off to the very end. And obviously, if it's something spread over 10 years, we prefer for that not to happen. So, you know, be prepared to make some commitments as far as completing the entranceways and items like that, you know,
Absolutely.
as we move forward.
Absolutely. And to that point, we are working with a third-party designer right now on entryway monumentation. Definitely for the roundabout, that's going to be seen as our main entrance to the community. And what we have in mind is coming off the roundabout here, you see several ponds, and this will be mounding. Again, another little pocket node of homes that are a little bit secluded, a little bit buffered by the mounding and then the creek and that existing tree line there. So when you come in, you're not really seeing homes right up front. You're seeing that landscaping. We're going to have, again, the overall theme of this from the Kelly family is that Irish feel, that lush green landscaping and the mounding and the white horse fencing. So we're going to look to incorporate that all along County Road 900. So when you come over through the roundabout and when you see that mounding and take that curve, your view then opens up to the large pond, which is approximately 11 acres in size, and you're overlooking that with the backdrop of the trail and the large amenity center here, and you start to see some of those rear load product types that all face 900. So we have those intentions right now. They're underway in design, and that's just kind of a little bit of the backstory of what we're in process of, and it'll be a major focal point for us.
Yeah, it's mainly, it's a timing thing as much as anything else.
Absolutely.
You know, we've had, you know, Rockport comes to mind where basically before they built a single house, you know, they had all the landscaping external to the development in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a big selling point, you know, number one, and number two, you know, when you've got something that's going to be spread over 10 years.
Yeah.
And just, you know, trying to get a better understanding, I can't tell by this, you know, you've got different product types. And I don't know what the lowest end product type is as far as square footage and so on. But we've got a lot of homes in that category right now within the town, and I don't think that we want more high density like that. And so for me to get some feel for what the lot sizes are, what the build out's going to be, it's, I know it's a little bit premature, but it's just giving you a heads up.
Yeah, for sure. And I've got square footages available for all those product types. They range from almost 1,300 square feet for a ranch product in the low maintenance area up to about 3,600 square feet in the executive level. So there's a range definitely in that in sizes, features, and square footages and pricing, honestly.
Price points?
Price points, probably the starting point for the lowest price point would be the townhomes, and those will still be in the high 2s, low 3s. And then range all the way up to the executive level homes will be well over 650, 700 plus.
Sure. And just reiterating the traffic problems with 500 and 400, putting your life in your hands when you try to get out. You cross those railroad tracks, there's only space for one car between the railroad tracks and Pendleton Pike, and I can see with a large build out that you'd get quite a large backup.
Absolutely. And we do have a traffic study that's been conducted and that's been submitted to the town, and we've continued to have those discussions with staff and how best to address this. The realignment of 500 was at staff's recommendation. I think that we're open to solutions there. That was one thought. We could be open to
Well, I don't think
multiple.
it's just a realignment. I think there's also discussions that need to be had with NDOT and the county
Absolutely.
about signaling, because you're going to, and then it's not 2 years from now or 4 years from now, but you get in 5, 6, 10 years when that's fully built out and people are trying to use that as a main thoroughfare and get down. And as Dr. Burney alluded to, with 400, there's those issues. The problem is, as much as we might be able to identify the problem, those aren't areas that we, as a town, that's somebody else's jurisdiction. So it becomes, I would rather have you guys have those conversations than they always look at us and go, well, you guys are always complaining. No, we are doing a development, this is going to benefit our community. I do, did you have any questions?
I was going to ask about the 10-year plan. I mean, where's that? You just think that's the demand, or if you have more demand, it goes faster, or is there some sort of purchasing procurement process that's going to last
Again,
on 10 years?
it's multiple factors with all of that. I think with bringing multiple products online at once, it lowers our absorption rate in those communities, so we don't have to try to sell as fast, as quickly. It can
Right.
happen organically. And then really with the utilities and contractual agreements with sellers. So it's not something that will happen very quickly, especially, I mean, we're installing and constructing this road out of nowhere, essentially, so it's going to take some time.
Sure.
And happen at the right pace.
So you mentioned that being a boulevard, which I like, and we're going to extend 900 all the way over to 400. But as you have these different product types in different areas, are they marked differently? Are they subsets of the Kelly Landing neighborhood? I mean, if I pull down the boulevard, am I going to see, different names for different living areas, or is this just one big neighborhood called Kelly Landing?
Right now, it's one large Kelly Landing community. We could look at identifying areas or districts. We're trying to find the best solution from a PUD and ordinance standpoint of.
I mean, you're developing a small village here.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
And with the, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, part of the concept is that products will be mixed in pockets in various places, but then products such as the townhomes will be subject to along the areas of perimeter by the rail line. And then in the village core area here, that will all be rear load products, both townhomes and detached products. So that's going to be scheduled there. as well as, like we talked about, the reserve area here and low maintenance area up here. So it's really a blend, and we're open to creating those districts and branding those. I think there's an overall theme that we'll have, but we can explore the
Have
options.
you talked to anybody or have you identified any areas that might be of commercial use?
Retail.
Restaurants, bar,
Yeah,
or
so that's about
retail.
retail.
Or anything like that. Have you guys had any conversation or identification of those areas?
So based on our conversations with staff, they were anticipating this being commercial down in the corridor. I
Okay.
keep losing my pointer. And we're looking for about 4 to 5 acres designated for commercial. So that is this lightly shaded red area that represents about 5 acres in total. In an area, again, we're exploring that possibilities. We're not commercial developers. We don't want to hold that land. It would be best served if the town controlled that and controlled its own destiny as far as appropriate uses and how that is developed in the future. So that's kind of the area that we've designated for the possibility there.
I mean, I think for both, I think a community like this will benefit both ours and Fortville in terms of, for future commercial growth and retail, so. I just really want to be able to, I don't want to get into a project where all of a sudden we have road issues 4 or 5 years down the road because NDOT doesn't want to cooperate, or CSX obviously is going to be difficult, but even with the county, so.
Yeah.
If we can make sure, I think you're coming to Plan Commission next month,
Yes.
maybe just give us an update on that.
Absolutely. And we had a detailed discussion with staff last week
Great.
on those items, and our team has reached out to all those parties, NDOT, CSX, the county. Some of them are hard to get a response from, as you may be able to imagine. So we're looking to coordinate that. It's tough for us too because we don't control those areas, and definitely off of 500, it'd be off-site and require a lot of easements and to do such work. So we're continuing those discussions and how to best have a plan for our benefit and the town's.
Okay. Appreciate it. If there's no other questions, Dr. Brand-Hasman?
You seem to be offering a wide variety of product in there. 2 things that you don't have. One is with production housing, there's a real dearth of possibilities to remodel or expand the residence. If the lot has space on it, a family can buy something that's relatively small when they have 1 child and they're young, but they know they're going to have 4, 5, 6 kids. And in the middle of it, they've got to rip up their family and move and change the residence because the small home that they bought wasn't planned so that it could be enlarged. So this could be done 2 ways. One is with shell space or a second floor that could be built out later that was just shell space, or it could be done with a little larger lot and a building that was made so that another wing of bedrooms could be put on it, or a large family room added or something like that. And that way our citizens won't turn over on us. They'll stay and they'll develop here. We'll get TAV as they build it out, and the community will grow and develop, and the homes will get more character as they get customized. And this allows somebody to get in and stay instead of having to, oh gee, maybe we should do Fisher's or Carmel or whatever, We'd like to keep them, especially as their incomes grow and their families grow, because we may be shifting to running our town more off of a different tax system with Senate Bill 1. That's one type of product. The other type of product is a kind of a different need, and this would be the ADU type of product, the accessory dwelling product. We have teachers, for instance, that can't find a decent place to live in McCordsville because they can't afford it. Our teachers in our school corp here are probably going to start at the lowest, and will probably be 45 this year. And the teachers that have been at 43 the last year, talking with them, they can swing $850 to $950 a month. If you had an ADU that was either a lock-off, which would allow you to build a bigger building on a larger lot with more character, and give the purchaser some rental income up front, and they could rent it to to a single person who could then move up in town later. It would give them a place to go, it would make it easier to finance the product. Or if they have mom and pop they want to take care of and want to have them close by, but they're not ready for the ECF yet, it could be an over-the-garage in-laws quarters, or it could be even a separate ADU in the back, and it could be a two-person unit. But it's not going to really burden the schools because there's not going to be children in these, because they would be, by their nature, very small, middle income producing type of things, maintained by the owners of that property. It would give us more TAV per square foot, and as far as rentals go, rather than concentrating it in an apartment area or a walkable area, town center, it would disperse it, which keeps it maintained and safe and so on. And I'd love to see an ADU product interspersed amongst it if you were so inclined.
Yeah, no, I think you raised some great points. And I think your first point, it touches on the value of the multi-generational product range here, offering those to move here or to start here and then move up as they progress throughout their life, whether that be a single person, a family. Offers the opportunity to move down too in some of the low maintenance areas. We also provide a little bit larger space in the rear yard to accommodate building additions in the future. So that is where that could be accommodated, as we've experienced buyers. The trend is to have a little bit smaller side yard space. They don't want to take care of it as much yard in that sense. So that's definitely something that we could continue to look at.
Well, if
And
they
then
could produce income out of their backyard instead of mow it, they might like it.
Yeah, and just one quick, if you could flip to one building type C, I believe, D. I'm sorry. This is actually a new product line to our market. This comes from the Coastal Carolina, and it's a product that features a recessed garage that is pushed back from the front facade of the home by at least 10 feet. And so it creates that variation in depth of the home. And it also has a finished space above the garage, which I believe in the Coastal Carolinas they call frog, finished room above garage, which is separated with its own stairwell from the house. It's not part of the overall second floor. It's got its own access point. So we're starting to see
Exactly what I
that.
was referring to.
Exactly. So that's why I kind of
And the
wanted to
wall
bring
plane
your attention to that.
articulations are nice to make the buildings more attractive.
So we're excited. This is probably the first community that we're looking to offer this in. And
So
we're
like on
excited about
your
it.
elevations there, you have kind of a shadow overlapping from the main facade over onto the garage door, and that's a real articulation. The front is not flat.
Yep. That's the intent.
Well, appreciate this first reading, so
Yeah.
take our feedback.
Yeah, thank you all.
Hopefully those will be addressed. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and
Thank you.
open up the, no other questions, I'm going to open up the public hearing at this time for anybody who's against, in favor, or opposes the annexation or rezone. Okay. Oh, come on up.
Greg,
What?
this is not public hearing on the rezone.
Just on the, just sorry, public hearing on the annexation, sorry.
Yeah, so my name is Jordan Bossy. I'm here with my wife. We live at 4284 West State Road 67. I don't know if you want to go back to the zoning map, but the annexation map that we saw on the screen actually includes part of our property that we recently bought from Brian and Kelly. So I just want to make sure that we aren't anticipating annexing into the town at this
Right.
time. So this piece is right at an acre. We actually purchased that. It's been a couple months now, I think, back in June maybe. So that is, I don't know if the county GIS has been updated to reflect it. It's been a couple weeks since I've been on there, but we do own that, my wife and I do. So I just want to make sure that that's accounted for.
I just looked at it today, you're not on there.
Okay, yep, so I think we were under the impression that would be updated. I'm sure that they're still working through all that. I'm not worried, but I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, no.
So we're not excited about this development in general. We understand it's happening. We're not fighting it or too upset. We've worked with Chris and Brian and Kelly on it, but we have concerns on, we moved out here for to be isolated. We don't have neighbors, and that was somewhat intentional. So we're not happy to have, 1,100 residents coming in. So we've talked with Lennar about buffer and separation, and we've seen it in the concepts. We're happy with what we're seeing, but we want to make sure that there's a grade separation, berming, and trees. And with it being a 10-year development, I think my wife and I would really appreciate if we could push to the forefront the planting of those trees early on, so that by the time we've got people that could look in our back window, that the trees are there. The other thing I want to point out is that we already have some drainage issues. We know that because we live in basically a farm field. And it's very evident when agricultural fields get developed that upstream properties are impacted significantly. I don't know what you guys have for tile out there now, but even if it's not tiled and there's a bunch of impervious area put down, it could back up. So I just want to make sure that that's known by the town, that we already have issues that we're okay with, but we don't want them to get worse because we are on septic, and I'm guessing it's every bit of 70 years old. The house is over 100 years old, so we just want to make sure that that is at the forefront of consideration as the properties get developed. It's like this spring we had a lot of rain. We had 4 or 5 inches of water in our yard, so any more would have been in our crawl space. So
Well, there is a big process, and it's very important for you to attend as many of the meetings as you can and represent the same things you're representing here.
Mhm.
There's Plan Commission, there's Architectural Review. You can talk to town staff, especially Ryan and Holly there. Be happy to talk to you. And as this has come up with other developments, I think these issues have all been addressed through that process very well.
Mhm.
So you should find it useful to do that.
Mhm.
All of the meetings are online and advertised and so on, and typically at times when you could attend. And you're usually accorded some time to speak and represent those meetings. And please do.
Yep, we plan on it.
We've
so,
got a meeting set tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., I believe,
Yes,
correct?
we do. Yep. Excited for
And
that.
See you then.
just double check, make sure his property's not in the annexation
Yeah,
documents.
Will do.
That'd be bad.
You make sure it's not included in the legal.
Yeah, and that's why that didn't even cross my mind until we saw that map just now. So
Yeah.
it's,
No, there's a legal
No.
description. It's very, got to be drawn out to understand it.
yeah, and we provided a legal description to Lennar and the county. Our surveyor, I work for a consultant, and we had it surveyed.
Well, it's easy to add and accept this at the end if
Yep.
it's not in there. so
Which I think that's
it
what we had
gets
talked
done.
about doing, because you guys already had a legal for the whole thing, and we snacked that 1 acre off of our property to add in, so. All right.
Right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comments? If not, I'll close the public hearing, and this goes on to Plan Commission, so, all right. Next is the ordinance, first reading for ordinance number 081225B, an ordinance to rezone that plus or minus 361 acres generally located at East County Road 500 West, south of the town's current limits, west of County Road 400 West, and north of State Road 67 from the county CN, county R 1.0 and county light industrial in a Rivendell PUD to Kelly Landing PUD for Lennar Homes of Indiana. Did I cover that? Okay. It's amazing. This is basically a rezoning. Petitioner's still here. I think we saw everything. This will go to what, Plan Commission as well next? All right. So if anybody has concerns on the rezone, I'd highly encourage you to go to the Plan Commission next month in September. All right, if there's no questions or comments, we'll move on to the next item.
I did hear today from 2 constituents who looked at the elevations that they were concerned that some of them didn't have the number of windows that are usually required in some of our PUDs. I think there was some concern about garage space raised. They were just looking at the elevations in some of the PUDs around town and saying that they didn't feel some of the elevations that were displayed with the draft here were up to standards.
All right. All right. Thank you. Any other public comments? If not, I'll close the public hearing, and we'll this goes on to Plan Commission next month in September. All right, if there's no questions or comments, we'll move on to the next item. Next is the ordinance, first reading for ordinance number 081225B, an ordinance to rezone that plus or minus 361 acres generally located at East County Road 500 West, south of the town's current limits, west of County Road 400 West, and north of State Road 67 from the county CN,
It probably needs to be addressed at.
Well, the
planning
standards are in the PUD.
Yeah,
And they'll have to meet the PUD standards ultimately when
Yeah.
that goes through. But I did hear from 2 people on that verbally today.
We got 2 plan commission guys. You guys make sure you cover that, would you? All right, good. And Ryan will double check. Okay, second reading, item G, ordinance number 081225C, an ordinance to rezone plus or minus 75 acres located at the northwest corner of County Road 600 West and County Road 600 North from the Shadow Trace PUD. This has been a continued petition. We'll see this next month.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And this was continued by the petitioner?
Yes, continued by the petitioner, and we confirmed that it was be continued with them, so they did not need to attend tonight.
All right, thank you. Okay, that saves time. Second reading, this is an ordinance number 081225D, an ordinance amending the villages at Brookside PUD. Ryan, do you have this? Or what? What are we paying you for?
He's slacking off.
No, go ahead, Ollie.
Yes, so this amendment adds definitions to the villages at Brookside PUD for a pickup window and a drive-through window. It also establishes where such windows within this development, the shops at Brookside, may be located. So specifically, there can be a maximum of 3 drive-through windows without the need for a special exception from the BZA. Only on Lot 3, which is just south of Leo's, can have a fast food establishment with a drive-through window. The second drive-through window may be permitted for a financial institution. That's currently being built out right now on Lot 4, the middle lot on the north side of that building. And then the third drive-through is can be permitted on the south side of that same building. So those 3 drive-throughs can only be on lots 3 and 4. There is also language that allows for a pickup window on the north side of lot 5. That pickup window cannot have a menu board, a speaker box. It is, you order from your phone or by calling and drive up, pick up your food, and get on your way.
So like similar to the Cadoba
Yes.
one? Okay.
There's also language within the PUD that provides some additional safeguards to protect the residential uses around this development. Specifically, that pickup window can't be any closer than 175 feet from the south property line. That's the red line that Ryan is showing right now. And that any drive-through cannot be any closer than 275 feet from that south property line. So those are just some additional safeguards we have in the PUD amendment to protect those residential uses. The petitioner is here if you wish to speak with him. Otherwise, this did receive a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission.
No concerns from the Plan Commission? All right. Well, that's why we have that, right? So if they don't have any issues. The layout looks like it works okay with traffic flow and so forth. It's not, no, I don't have any concerns. Any questions for the petitioner? Comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 081225D.
Second.
All right, there's been a second. First and second to approve ordinance number 081225D, an ordinance amending the villages of Brookside PUD. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, passes 5-0. All right, we have a first reading on a ordinance number 081225E as in Edward, imposing a wheel tax and excise tax and creating funds for each. Tim, you got this one?
Yeah, so part of the changes coming our way from Senate Enrolled Act 1, one of the things they did was restructure how community crossing grants are administered, will be administered in the future. Beth, our attorney Beth Copeland, Mark, engineer Witzman, and myself all attended AIM webinars to kind of get additional information on both the wheel and excise tax, as well as just restructuring CCMG to understand all the little details of how this is going to work. The real brief version is the regular CCMG program doesn't change much. However, there's an additional set of money that will only get distributed based on lane miles. So after they go through the initial one, then there's a certain amount of money that goes directly to Indianapolis. Then there's this extra pot of money. I don't remember the exact number. They were estimating 100 million or something like that, which is a lot of money. Will be distributed based on your lane miles to communities that have the wheel and excise tax in place. And so currently in Hancock County has the wheel and excise tax in place. They have it at the max rates, which for vehicles are regular vehicles are $25 and commercial vehicles are $40, and that's generic categories. The ordinance before you mirrors the county's ordinance, with the idea that we'll have a work session here in between and hash out what we want to set our rates at, because both categories, there's numerous different categories. You can exempt certain vehicles, not certain vehicles. There are some exemptions in there because, again, we followed the county's guidelines. But we can make adjustments prior to the second reading if you choose to adopt the wheel and excise tax. One clarification that we were sure about is the county wheel tax will stay on there. This goes on top of it. So when we discuss what we want our rates to be, we just want to keep that in mind, that this will be an additional tax on registrations when you renew your plates.
So my understanding is it doesn't affect your funding based on what your rate is. It's just you have to have a wheel tax, correct?
Yeah,
So like our proportionate, they're not gonna, if we had the low end, we're not gonna get deducted what kind of money are we really looking at the end of the day, Mark?
It's actually uncertain. They're still working on the details for it. If you're talking about the lane miles, the excise and wheel tax, that part's probably only going to amount to, depending on what we set the
Well,
rate at.
I guess my question is, if we did not implement a wheel tax, what amount of money is the town losing out on roughly?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. That's the big unknown. Okay,
Yeah,
so.
they're still working through the details on this, but we do know it's calculated based on lane miles.
Okay.
And it is,
Right around 60 lane miles.
yeah, it's going to be a significant amount of money. And we don't want to miss out on that, given the fact that we're getting cut back on other areas.
The actual wheel and you have to pass both the wheel and excise tax. You can't do one or the other. You have to do them both. We don't anticipate collecting a lot of money. We don't have big industrial areas that have semis that are being housed here that are going to register in McCordsville. But so the actual wheel excise tax, I think we gave you a 2023 estimate, which a little bit inaccurate, was somewhere between 70,000 and a couple 100,000, I think, was our range. That'll obviously, we're growing. We have a lot more houses. We have a lot more cars that'll get registered here, so that'll grow. But we're not funding a roundabout with the wheel and excise tax. We're doing a study. We're doing traffic studies, things like that. Some engineering, possibly some preliminary engineering. But it's the tool to access us to this additional fund, which is an automatic pass-through once you have
The
it in
really
place.
big change here is the community crossing funds won't be entirely distributed as they have been in the past.
Right.
There'll be a big withhold at the end, and that's going to get divvied up according to this. And if you don't have it, you don't get it.
The other, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's my point. As long as the language says, if the language just says you have to have a wheel and excise tax, and you can be at the bare minimum, and that's what I would prefer. That's just my opinion. So that we don't lose out on those state funding. That's the key. That's the key. The county, I don't want to match what the county's doing. That's just, to me, is.
We don't know what the formula is, other than it's based on road miles. We haven't heard much more on the and it won't be distributed. The first distribution will be 2027, which is why we brought this to you now. Because if we get it in before, I think, September 17th or something like that, it'll take effect January 1st, 2027. And the first draw, I think, is June 2027.
Another aspect of this that might help you get the scale of it is there's a $1 million cap essentially on your annual CCMG application. The lane mile is going to be a portion of that, so for the communities that receive it. So if we got, say we got 500,000 in the lane miles, we would be eligible then for 500,000 in a CCMG grant application. So the cap is still there, it's balanced between those two. So if, for instance, if we made an application for a CCMG grant and failed to get it, if we had the lane miles, we would still get at least a portion of that $1 million. If we don't have it in place, we just miss out that year.
Now, by us implementing it, do we get to see any, does the county funnel any money our way, or is it, they
Yes.
keep the?
There's a percentage of the county wheel tax that that comes our way now and will continue to come our way even with our wheel tax. The wheel tax all go, our wheel tax and excise tax will all go to us, plus we get a small percentage of the county's wheel tax.
So is there any way, by the time we get to our work session, to see what the minimum rate versus the maximum could be?
Yeah, we can tell you exactly what those
Okay.
are. We don't have great the best data they gave us to calculate what we would generate is 2023. So our population's off by several thousand people, and
So what you're
things
telling
like
me
that.
is the state legislature last year went in and decided, hey, we're gonna help everybody with property taxes. And what they end up really doing is telling us, the municipalities, that not only did we not fix the property tax issue, we made it worse for everybody. You guys have to implement a local income tax to make up for all that lost property tax that you were going to get. And now, on top of that, we're gonna, if we want to continue to maintain and keep our roads the way people expect them, we're going to have to implement a wheel and excise tax.
This is basically.
So I really
a tax
appreciate everything our
mandated by
state
the
legislature has done for us local officials on that matter. I'm sure you guys are all pleased as well.
This is a tax mandated by the state. This is not our idea, but we have little choice but to do it. I would also like
music helps,
to
though.
get a special exception in there. There's a number of different categories of vehicles and so on. Beth, you'll have to tell us if we can legally do this or not, but I would like to accept from the tax or spare from the tax any vehicle that qualifies for an antique license plate, and specifically while leased to the town of McCordsville, the McCordsville leader car.
Well, I don't think that's drivable, so I don't think we have to.
Oh, it's drivable.
Oh, it is?
None of us are qualified to drive.
Oh, okay, there we go.
You can drive it.
All right,
Well, we don't want to pay a wheel tax on it.
yeah, okay.
And
Collector
so
vehicles
why don't
are
we
an
just say that
exemption.
vehicles made in McCordsville
I
are
don't,
exempt?
no, that's a good question, though. Municipal vehicles would not be, they would be exempt. wouldn't
If
they?
you look
exempt.
under, there's a list of ones we have exempted out, including, hold on. I'm
There's
looking
7
wrong.
categories if you look on page 3, and then there's an 8 that's any other vehicle exempt pursuant to state law.
So that'd be all of our vehicles.
So, well, there's owned by the
School
political
bus.
subdivision, so anything owned by us or any other political subdivision within this county. A state agency of the state of Indiana.
Now, to Dr. Bernie's
a bus
point,
owned and
we don't own
operated
the
by a
leader.
religious or
right.
nonprofit. There's several different categories that we can discuss.
Okay.
Certainly the ones that are exempt from the state, we can't not exempt.
we could probably do something with the leader automobile.
All right.
We're not plating the
Sure, we
leader
have that.
automobile anyway, so it'll never go through there, so.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that discussion at the work session, unless anybody here really wants to give another direction on the, I guess, the percentage or the amount of tax. I prefer to, I hate taxes in the first place. We get taxed on everything we do, and the fact that we're forced to do this just irritates me. But at the same time, I don't want to have our citizens not have the money they need to come in to repair roads that they expect to drive on. I mean, so
We want every
It's a
tool
catch-22.
available to us for road funding.
it's a catch-22 for me, and that's the problem. So, all right, well, thank you guys for that. Any questions for Tim or Mark or Beth? If not, we'll move on. You guys see we've run everybody else out of the meeting, so. This first reading for ordinance number 081225F, additional appropriation of funds for general and MVH.
Yes, so this covers several projects. I apologize, I was going to get an email out to you, but you should all had a sheet of paper I gave you that I probably made as confusing as possible. Stephanie provided information today, and it gets to the bottom line of each one that basically states, even after the additional appropriation and the budgeted numbers, what would be left at the end of the year. And then obviously next year's budget, we don't see any deficit issues. So we'll still leave solid reserves in each of these funds at the end of the year. And I should also point out, I didn't want to be too sarcastic on this, but I can't remember a year where we actually spent our entire budget and didn't have remaining funds at the end of the year, because we just don't hire everybody that was in there. We hired them half years, or a project didn't come or whatever. But so when you see the uncommitted fund, that is our budget that we haven't spent to date. And we probably, the 4.22 million of generals, we're not probably spending 4.22 general. We are with the additional appropriation, but there will be additional funds in there as well. So we're still in a healthy spot. The general fund, as well as the seated additional appropriation, are all related to the community center, which we knew we were going to have to do this additional appropriation when we started the process. It's actually a little less. I thought it'd be over 2 million, but with the encumbered funds for some of the other things and some of the pricing that came in, the 1.9 should cover us just fine, and actually includes a little bit of extra money for the car lot. So when we're out there working, we can save some costs by already being mobilized, as well as money for the church parking lot across the street that we have an agreement with. That was kind of an unfunded project, so we took the seeded dollars is for that project. As far as the MVH fund, so we were sitting on a pretty healthy amount there. We realized we needed to make the Civic Drive connection to connect McCord Square to 750. That's going to be very important to get that done. We want to start that this fall and finish it in the spring, prior to breaking ground on the major intersection improvement at 600 and Broadway, and then following that up with the 750 roundabout. That connection is going to be important for the police to be able to cut through and have alternate routes to be able to respond to things. So it'll also help McCord Square, because it'll allow Colonnade and groups over there to cut through on the back end. So the one additional appropriation is for the Civic Drive expansion, and the other one, I think I sent a note, the $1.2 million has to do with the property acquisition for the project at 600 and Broadway. We had originally anticipated to request funds from the county this year. They asked, I don't know if they asked us or told us, what else to, I don't know. They had a cash flow issue this year, and we pushed back the 750 roundabout to 27, and they pushed their funds back to next year. So we had some money in the capital project plan for 2026. We took that out and simply moved this money forward, so we had cash to purchase the right-of-way and keep this project moving, because we're already, I would say, tight to behind on the timeline for moving that project forward with the MPO guidelines. So that 1.2 million additional is for land acquisition, right-of-way acquisition. So happy to answer any questions. Happy to explain what I tried to attempt here. Kind of makes sense.
Well, it's first reading, so if you guys have any questions or concerns between now and next month, please reach out to Tim and get more detailed information from him.
If any of the numbers tighten up, we will adjust that accordingly before the second reading as well.
Appreciate it. So in the meantime, second reading on an ordinance amending the Colonnade PUD. This is Holly again. All right.
So this amendment is specific to Area A, Section 4 of the Colonnade PUD, which is on the east side of the main entrance off 750 North. It allows townhomes, yes, right there in the red. It allows townhomes in this area to be no less than 2 stories, whereas the original PUD required 2 and 3-story townhomes. The petitioner stated at Plan Commission that this is driven by buyer preference. These buildings additionally may have less than the 50% brick or stone facades facing a street, so long as they substantially comply with the elevations presented to the ARC. Additionally, the townhomes in this area of Section 4 may have fewer than the required 3 windows on the rear elevations. Again, so long as they substantially comply with the elevations presented to the ARC. The decrease in the rear windows is due to the garage placement on the 2-story townhomes versus the 3-story townhomes. These elevations did go to ARC. They received favorable comments from the ARC, and then this amendment went to the Plan Commission and received a favorable recommendation.
Okay. Any questions for Holly, Ryan, or Tim from council? Any concerns?
I'll just add that they don't have the railings that the other buildings in that line have.
But it is transition away from town center, so I'm okay with that.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, as it moves to the east, I feel like that they can have that. If there's no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve ordinance 081225G.
Second.
There's been a first and second to approve ordinance number 081225G, an ordinance amending the Colony PUD. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. All right, next order of business. This is a second reading on ordinance number. You guys stayed here the whole time just for that?
We did.
Okay, awesome. I applaud you.
Great commitment.
Second reading for ordinance number 081225H, an ordinance to amend the town of McCordsville zoning ordinance. Holly?
This one's actually me.
Oh, man.
I know.
Threw me.
So I'll try to be brief and really summarize this request as we've all kind of see this play out today with Kelly Landing. After identifying some concerns with our existing process of PUD rezone, where a rezone ordinance initially starts with the ARC and then comes to Plan Commission and doesn't make it to Town Council until the very end of the process. We felt like it made a lot of sense to get council involved early. And it kind of harkens back to, if you remember, for the folks that were here 3, 4, 5 years ago, we used to do informal development proposals. What we didn't like about that was it kind of gave developers this opportunity to get your feedback, but yet never file anything with us, never pay filing fees, and kind of got them, it was helpful for them, but maybe not super helpful for us in terms of time management.
Right.
So with this process, essentially what we're doing is we're eliminating that initial ARC step, replacing it with the first reading at Town Council, so that the first thing any PUD rezone comes to is you guys. So number one, you know about it before the other boards do, in case you're getting calls or emails from constituents. But it also allows you guys, who are the ultimate decision makers, to get your comments out early and often and give direction on these petitions. So other than that change, that is the only thing that's really changing with this process. We're replacing that initial ARC review with the first reading to Town Council, and the rest of the process plays out.
But it's still going to ARC for architectural standards?
It does. It goes after. We're going back to our traditional way we used ARC years ago, which is after a rezone's over, before a home builder can come in and actually build homes, they go to the ARC, and the ARC is confirming that all the standards are being met,
Okay.
and they're running through anti-monotony review.
So, and that's really what it's designed for.
That was what it was intended for. If you go back to the initial zoning ordinance of the town of McCordsville, that was what it laid out.
Okay.
We kind of came full circle to some extent.
Well, I was never a big fan of the informal because of that, because then they come in, if they didn't hear everything they liked, next thing you know, poof, but everybody got all stirred up because they heard about a project. I don't like them wasting staff's time, right? We're already busy as it is, so if you're going to if you want to develop here, you need to go through the process of paying the fees, getting everything in, talking to staff, and then, like that. So I like that idea. It still keeps the independent boards, the Plan Commission, ARC involved in the process like it's designed. And then it gives us the final authority. So I think there's transparency across the board from the very get-go, which I like. So I'm okay with it. Other thoughts, concerns from anybody?
Yeah, I think it's an improvement. I always had concerns that by the time I got to the planning commission, things were already decided. It was hard to go back and, push back on something, because then not only from a calendar-wise time, you would lose months, but it'd have to go back to the ARC for changes and things like that. And this gives us an opportunity to provide some feedback like we did today, so that they know what our hot points are. It's just not, when it gets to the planning commission, you can say no.
Good.
Just one comment, when it says red line version, maybe an instruction set there to download it into Word and open it there and turn on the view so you can see the changes. Otherwise, the red lines don't show up when you just click on the link.
Yeah, it's especially challenging on certain types of tablets where it just won't show them at all. So, yeah. Tech issues.
The red lines are helpful, but it's a bit of a process to get them to show up sometimes.
If you convert that into a PDF, the red lines will show up, right?
They don't. They go away when you convert to a PDF. The only way of doing it would be, instead of using Microsoft Word's red line review, is literally
Change font color.
change font color, use the strikeout feature. It's a little bit more time consuming if you have a lot of edits that you're making over and over again. This one we could have done that way, because this is pretty simple, to be honest. But you think about some of our PUDs that are 30 pages long, and we go through 5 or 6 iterations with the developer, passing it back and forth. It would be impossible to do that without using Word's red line tool, unfortunately. Stuff will get missed, it will happen.
We don't want that. All right, if there's no other comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 081225H, an ordinance to amend the Town of McCordsville zoning ordinance.
Second?
There's been a first and second to approve ordinance number 081225H, an ordinance to amend the Town of McCordsville zoning ordinance. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
All right, item M. Tim.
I'm going to talk generically about M, N, O, and P, because they're all somewhat related. And I just thought, I don't know how we lined up 4 projects to be at this exact same stage at the exact same time, but somehow we did it. They're all a little bit different, so there's nuances to them. So I'll go through the individual ones in a second, but this is a little clunky. Typically, when you approve a project, and we'll use the 600 and Broadway, council has issued we went through the MPO, we committed to the project, we signed a financial commitment letter. We probably have already approved moving forward through this process, but we don't have a clear policy on this, and it's a little, I'll let Beth chime in too, she's ready. And these other ones, we don't have a clear policy where we sign contracts to move forward with design, and now we're ready to acquire the right-of-way to actually get to construction. And it's somewhat unclear if we had approval from council to issue, we've done the appraisals and all these, we're ready to issue the offers. And we just weren't quite sure if we had approval to issue the offers. So that's what's before you today. We think there's a cleaner way to do this in the front end, to basically say, if we're gonna commit to the project, let's approve committing to the project. We're at the offer stage. The offer, I'll let someone not let me screw this up. Basically, we give them offers. Once they receive the offer, they have 30 days. There can be given, after the 30 days, they can be given a opportunity to counter. You don't always have to do that. That's not required, but we typically would do that. And then at the end of that's when we hit the do we do eminent domain or not. That being said, like I said, all 4 of these are a little bit different. The 600 West and Broadway is a very traditional federal and state funded process. We don't do the appraisals. We don't do the offers. It's done third party. They can explain that better than me when I get done talking here. The trail connection, that is a locally funded project. We have a third party doing the appraisals and the offers. And per state law, the offers include language that says we could eminent domain this. We're not, we had that problem on 800 North. When they got the letter, it said, hey, here's your offer, by the way, we can take your property. That's because that's what the state requires it to say. Again, that one's locally funded, so, but we had a third party do all the work for us. Vale Road, we had talked about, we obviously got pushed back from the residents, but we had said, okay, we already paid to have the appraisals done and the offers written up. We've already knocked on the door, let's go ahead and submit the offers. We anticipate most, if not all of them being rejections. We can document it, we put it in the file, move on. And then Railroad Street, we had talked to all the owners. We had a kind of a head nod to move forward. We did that one entirely in-house, so I got the appraisals, Beth's drafting up all the offer letters, and we'll attach the appraisals and offers, and we'll do the process. We'll sit down with every single owner on our own. So they're all a little different, a little nuanced. Again, we think there's probably a different way. We probably need to draft a policy on how this works going forward, so it's not clunky like this, but I'm going to let Beth chime in now because she looks like she really wants to talk.
Tim, just a point of clarification. If we were going to move forward with eminent domain, if somebody rejected the offers, would that come back to us here?
Yes. So the goal now is to have as many properties accept the offer or give us a counter, and we can
Sure.
accept that offer prior. Several of these projects, I don't know that you want to move to that next step, like the trail on 700. I doubt you're going to do that. The MPO project's the one you really need to do, where that kills that project and puts us in a bad spot with the MPO. So, and future road funding. So, what will happen is we'll put the offers out. We'll get them all back. The ones that are a problem, we'll come back to you and say we need to initiate the eminent domain process. And you don't want to lose a lot of time on that because it's Ryan can talk to the timeline, but we're already tight, and if we don't move on those, then we could fall behind it almost the entire year.
Yeah, so we would be back in front of you in September or October meeting at the absolute latest, if we have any that we have to go through that condemnation process with to request your approval for that. But we are not going to have opportunity, just to be real frank, on the 600 West widening project. So what happens is these letters will go out. You have to actually find the person. Sometimes that takes a few weeks. Once we've confirmed they've received the letter, the 30-day clock starts. Once that 30 days burned off, if we haven't heard from them, that's when we can start the condemnation process. And depending upon how long it takes us to locate people and confirm delivery, we may be at a point where we have to move forward with condemnation right away when the 30 days burns off in order to stay on a timeline of starting this project next summer. We are tight on timeline. Once condemnation starts, I think it's important to note, if we did start that process, it's anywhere from minimum of 3 months to as much as 5 months to go through the condemnation process. It is not fast. There's plenty of time for further negotiation, but you've got to start the process or we're going to risk our funding being taken away.
That's important to note. When we say we want to start the condemnation process, like one of the first parts of that is there's a court ordered 2 appraisals that happen. They're separate. Those take a lot of time to happen, and you can continue negotiating and working with the property owner the entire time you're going through that process. So starting the condemnation process doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to finish it. It just means that you start working through that so that you don't slow up your project.
And eminent domain itself is not like you're just taking it. It's just the judge is saying, here's what you're there.
You just don't agree on price.
You just don't agree on price, and you're getting paid. It just might not be the payment
There are, for 600 Broadway, there are 3 homes we're going to have to take because they're just too close to the project. Like you'd have a road in the front. You'd walk out your front door and you'd be on a road. So, but they'll get offered the average of 2 appraisals for their home, and then they'll negotiate off of that. So there are instances where you have to do that. There are some instances, Ryan and I were talking about, where you end up with excess land where it was the right of way needed, but the land left over wasn't significant enough to leave with the owner, so you have to buy that too. So there's requirements of what you're going after, but in able to do these projects, we have to have the right of way to do it. So this is the tool to do that.
I just wanted clarity that we would have the opportunity to vote on that piece of it before we.
Yeah,
take
on all,
action.
on all these, I think it's been pretty clear that the Vale Road one won't come back to you.
Yeah.
But the other 3 are really, especially the Pineville, the Deer Crossing Trail Connection. We haven't really heard from those owners yet, so we'll see how that goes. And then South Railroad, we all know there's a need there, but we feel we have willing participants in that process.
And that project isn't a lot of land acquisition, right? It's more,
Those are slivers of land.
Slivers.
Tiny.
right, so it's not like people have to relocate or, you've had communication with the landowners, what we're looking at. And
We've talked with all of them. We've met with them individually, and we'll meet with them all again to kind of either right before or right after we deliver the offers. So
Okay.
we've committed to a very personal touch with, we kind of had some backlash on Vale Road. What we learned from that is when we have a local project, we can give the more personal touch. When we have the big state-funded projects, we can't do that. We can't
Right.
go talk to them. But the local ones, we can. So with, for instance, on the trail along 700 West, we sent out a letter from the town in advance to those property owners, letting them know our appraisal would be in contact, and that they had questions about it, come talk to us. Neither one of them has reached back out, but we've made that personal reach out. And then again, on South Railroad Street, I think we all know that's been a long discussed project that we've personally talked to every single one of those people.
Well, and I think something that caught us off guard on the Vale Road project, and was a good learning experience, was the required language in there, because the letter came off pretty threatening. And not how we would have written the letter, but it was more of what's required to write the letter when you do the offer. So we wanted to move forward and send out hey, this is coming, by the way.
I appreciate you
kind
guys
of
doing that. That
the
makes
softer.
It makes a big deal, yeah. Obviously,
So-
the Vale Road one was.
Well,
quite
we know
no
that
fun,
moving
so.
forward on these smaller projects, that
good.
would be nearly impossible to send that to Speedway Corporate, or something like
Well,
that.
Obviously, the big one is the top project, and I think to your point, Tim, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see how the process plays out, but this town has for years relied on MPO funding for many of our projects on the road. So, and I agree with Mark that when we've had the discussion, if you have to return those funds and you don't do the project they've said, you might as well not even ask for a while, because you're going to get denied. And we've been pretty fortunate as a town to get those money that we really need for certain projects. So I hope those landowners, everything works out, but this is a much needed project for this town. And I think many people are expecting us to get that done, so.
Is it public information, what right-of-way is needed for that? Or is that like we keep it secret, so we have secret stuff?
It's not a secret, but we wanted to send out the offers.
Strength in negotiations.
We'll go through for the big project, there's 13 parcels that we have to acquire from. When we go through the work session, we're going to kind of show you specifically what
They
it is.
show us before it goes out?
Yeah.
or- Okay.
One reason why you.
Go out first. We're gonna talk about it
Yeah.
after.
Yes.
They go out first, and then we find out later?
Well, if you give us the go-ahead, we'll get them out tomorrow.
Oh, that's, I just, I mean, it's just, maybe it's only happened to me, it's just like, it's caught off guard for us, people reach out to us, like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing this, so I mean, as soon as we can know about it, obviously I'm in a strange situation with Vale Road, but
Yeah.
maybe this won't happen, but this also does kind of affect right there for me personally, people may reach out, so I just don't know what that.
Most on the
Owner
big
presume.
project are aware, because there's been surveying crews and other, I had the realtor from the ones on the northwest corner
Right, and
call
I
me
think we were,
today.
on Vale Road, you were prepared, but it was like, oh, it's gonna be 40 feet from the center line, big surprise, you know what I mean? Anything like that, I would like to.
And that goes back to the required language, because I sat in those meetings with Mark and I was just as confused, because we weren't buying 40 feet, but we
Yeah.
had to say it's 40 feet from the center line. We already owned a majority of that. We were buying this sliver, and I don't understand why we can't say, can we buy an additional 12 feet?
Right.
That sounds way better than I'm buying 40 feet of your property when I'm not really buying 40 feet of your property.
And when you actually file the complaint, it does identify, it actually says, here's what the acreage is, here's what's right of way, and
But
here's
it's-
what the new.
Well, I'm telling you,
But if
I-
you're not an
that's-
engineer, it's not easy to
Well, I didn't even know how to read
understand.
those drawings, and the drawing that was given was not clear.
Let me ask you a question.
Agreed.
So is there a way we could do it the legal way, right, but put a cover letter to it with the more,
Yeah, that's
Uh,
actually kind of what we were doing after the Vale Road discussions of trying to reach out ahead of time. And that's what we've done with the Pine Vale and South Railroad projects. The other one, we're trying to stay hands-off and follow
Yeah.
that.
but
Those
I understand.
guidelines.
I'm just looking from a local standpoint, when we have local
Yeah.
personal touch, like do what's required by the state with the required language, but say over the cover letter, here's really the generalization of what we're trying to do. You will notice in here it says 40 feet, but what we're really wanting is 10 feet or 5 feet or whatever it is.
And I'm just asking
You
for
could always do a
educational.
you could always do like a pre-offer letter that introduces, this is it, this is what we're gonna need, this is the amount.
Yeah, but
And
the
that would
confusing
be-
part is I do that and then I get the what's legal and then like, wait a minute, in that pre-letter, it said 12 feet, now it's 40 feet. You know, I'm trying
Well,
to
yes.
minimize the
Hopefully
confusion.
The state's more robotic, right? Hopefully the state is not drafting all of the documentation and we can, because there are certain statutory provisions that have to be in it, but we can also attempt to make it in clear, plain language so people can understand it. I have 4 of these pending right now, so I mean, I know visually how it looks because I'm actively doing it. And if it provides any level of comfort, I would say that like 90% of these things, even if the complaint gets filed, gets resolved, right? Because most of the time, unfortunately, what happens is there are law firms that are eminent domain law firms, and they swoop in and they would like tell the landowner, you can get all this extra money if you let me represent you. There's one guy that I keep dealing with, and you just negotiate. You continue to file. We get the property so he can do his project. They challenge the damages, and then you agree on a number. So it's just compensation. They get paid for it.
Well,
Lawyers are complicated.
to me, an eminent domain is the last resort, right? And honestly, what really frustrates me, and it should be used only. I don't believe in it for economic development. I don't believe in it for certain things, but I do believe that it's a necessity when it's making the infrastructure and the safety of the town better. So hopefully we don't get there. What do you need from us tonight? Just authorization to send the letters to everybody?
Yeah, basically, that's what all 4 of these are, is authorization to make the offer letters, or send out the offer letters for all 4 projects.
Okay. Can we do that in all in one motion?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So unless there's other questions or concerns, I'll entertain a motion that we at least send out the right-of-way purchase letters.
I move we approve or give approval to make offers for the right-of-way for the MPO, the trail connection, the drainage project on Vale Road, and the right-of-way for South Railroad Street project.
Second?
There's been a first and second to approve items M, N, O, and P. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0.
No.
What, did you say no?
No, Chad didn't
He
vote.
needs to recuse himself since we did it all in one. He shouldn't vote on Vale Road.
I didn't vote.
So
Worked out.
4-0.
Keep my mouth shut.
Yep.
401.
401.
Yep, 4-0-1, abstain.
Sorry, I didn't even think of that.
That's why I'm here.
I'm not.
Well, wait a minute, he
But
doesn't
it's
want
not-
to,
but
he
it's
doesn't
not-
want to approve to
just so-
send a letter to himself?
Well, just so we're clear, my property's not in this phase, so,
Do you have a direct or indirect financial interest if this goes in or not?
No.
Okay, then you could vote.
Okay.
Everyone acted like you were
all right.
involved.
Oh, yeah,
So-
I thought you were in
It
phase 1, you're in
sounded
phase
like you
2.
were
In phase two,
involved.
no, I just can't, I
Well,
got,
then, yeah,
I
you
got
could have
the,
voted,
I
because
got
we're only
the
sending letters to phase 1.
tortures in my driveway
Oh,
from neighbors.
okay.
You want to change your
By
vote?
40 feet, it's like, don't worry about it, it's 4 feet.
Are you an aye then?
I'm an aye.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Yes. was funky.
I hope the people at home are like, man, you know, this is like better than Seinfeld sometimes. All right. Assistant Town Manager report.
Just the normal project status report has been posted. It's on the screen. We did take some of the older, kind of dead projects off the list, added some new ones, and happy to answer any questions you got on it.
So, just update me, how close to completion on Emerald Springs, Village of Brookside stoplight are we?
That project has a completion date of like November 21st, but they are not thinking that way at all.
Yeah.
If you notice, the poles are up and they've strung it, strain lines today, and they've got their sub is Midwest to do the asphalt and concrete work, and they're going to town on that. So I don't have a completion date, but I'm expecting it to be pretty rapid.
Okay.
They're not messing around. Initially we thought it would be delayed because of the strain poles, but the contractor was able to get the poles from another location or borrowed it from another project. Let's just say it that way.
Reallocated.
Reallocated.
Yeah, it's
yes.
reallocated. I'm gonna do with
So, yeah,
reallocations.
that thing is moving rapidly.
Good.
And that's one in the additional appropriations that we had allocated MBH funds, but only have to use a sliver of what we allocated, so
Good.
that's a good example.
Old School Park, you wanna give everybody an update on that?
Right now, the majority of the work is complete, and we're in the punch list phase.
Okay.
The contractor has the punch list. They worked on it quite extensively last week, and we did notice that we've got a slowdown. So I'm not sure why they're not actually still actively working on it this week or these first 2 days, but we're trying to get them to work through these items, get it to a point we can issue substantial completion.
Is this something we think we can have done by Labor Day weekend? I don't want to put you on the spot, but
there's two bigger issues that we're going to work through with them to try to open the 2 to 5 playground, the shelter, people are already using the basketball hoops, and the bathrooms. The big playground, the 2 slides have issues, so it's going to come down to when can we get the replacement parts. And on the shorter slide, it's too low. So they're going to actually have to raise, like they're going to have to cut the rubber out and raise it, and then reset the slide. So if we can kind of work around those 2 issues, we can probably open a majority of it. There's also a potential crushed pipe in the parking, so they might actually have to tear up the parking and put a new pipe in a chunk of it.
And just FYI, the second or third roof truss and the shelter from the west side is an inch short of the fascia.
Okay. You sent us an email on that. So.
Yeah.
okay.
We are tomorrow. The internet there's actually going to be internet there. We'll get to public Wi-Fi at some point, but it's actually for the cameras and door locks of the restroom. So that's all being started tomorrow as well. So we'll be able to, if there's ever an emergency, we can actually unlock the doors mobilely, and we can keep them locked at night so we don't have problems in the restrooms. And there'll be cameras out there as well. So trying to protect our investment, if you will.
Assuming you have retainage on them, 10% retainage on them?
We actually are holding a couple pay
Payments too.
applications that we
Good.
weren't feeling real confident in the progress. So
Yeah. So you got a chunk of money
Yeah.
going on them.
so we do have a chunk of money that we are holding right now.
6 to 6 roundabout on pace.
It's ahead of schedule.
It's ahead of schedule.
Good.
That's 2 of your projects.
Yes.
Man.
Look at that.
Yes.
Boy, this is red banner day for you, buddy. All right. Well, I appreciate anybody else have any questions or updates from them. All right. Town manager's report.
So a lot going on. Obviously, all around town, I'd like to point out some of the upcoming events around town here. First of all, if you get to McCord Square, we're getting these little amenities put in all the time, so people are already using the ping pong table. It's heavy. We installed it and moved it, and it's not going anywhere. But go out there and check it
Our
out.
lawn chairs that were out there.
unlike our chairs that blew to the middle of the field. Also, behind the southern building, is that the Jackson? The Jackson. There's Lucas. Sorry, the southern building are two new Tier 3 chargers put in by 9-Star. They actually have 4 charging units, and it looks like 2, but there's 2 per unit. Tier 3 units. We actually moved them to the backside, which I like that location better for them, so they're not clogging up the main street. But additional Tier 3s, so please use them. I'm sure they'll love to recoup those funds.
Did you get Greg a coal oven too for him?
I want a locomotive, steam engine.
And then we also connected the trail. It's not open yet because 9-Star's not quite open, but we actually connected the park trail to the trailhead at 9-Star. So with a really wide trail, I think it's huge. It's 10 foot wide. It looks bigger. So that's really nice. And then when 9-Star opens, you'll actually have another loop that you can go in there in the McCord Square. So Community Day for the police is this Friday, starting at 5 o'clock. Paul will be out there cooking hot dogs. He will challenge you to an eating contest if you want. No? No? At the same time, at 5 o'clock, Leo's Market is opening, which is on the corner of the Jackson, on the northeast end of the building. So they'll be doing a ribbon cutting as well. We'd love to have some council members jump in that ribbon cutting and celebrate that. I think that's going to be a really nice amenity. And the White family invested quite a bit of money to put that in there, so that's a big deal. Path to Fitness was this last Saturday. We had right around 158, 160 runners/walkers. It was really good. Everything went smooth. The weather was great. It was really nice. It didn't hit me until somewhat in the morning that we had 0 DPW workers there, which typically was required by all of them, so they weren't really happy to be there. But we had all park staff, and that was different. After a few years, we've built up this park staff, and we had Holly was there volunteering as well. But it was just kind of nice to have a park event with all park staff managing it, and everyone was having a good time, and everything went really smooth. So, a good event. Continues to provide money for the Park Legacy Foundation, or Park Legacy Fund, that we're going to continue to promote and increase. Cars and Coffee is this Sunday, 9 to 11 in McCord Square. That's been a popular event.
And I get stopped right there. I got a question for you.
Yes.
We were talking earlier. Is there any possible way to show off the leader at that Cars and Coffee?
Not easily,
Okay.
because they actually moved it for us. I mean, we'd have to trailer it in.
We just thought it'd be like a.
Plus, we're working on a rider for it, so I'd like to have that in place too. We have it insured in our general, but we're working on an additional rider for it through our insurance company. So, is this the last one?
I don't think so.
There might be one more.
Or just before we put it in the museum, maybe be able to put a,
Not a bad idea. I don't know that we're comfortable moving that yet.
Well, let's talk to the owner and then the insurance company, and if that's a possibility, could you let us know?
Sure. It's probably not for Sunday.
No,
I'd have to get
but I
staff
mean,
in,
if
but
we have
maybe
another one,
maybe if there's another one, we might be able to do something.
get the, I think we have a tent, right, awning that we can put it on, under.
Yeah, we definitely want to cover it
Yeah.
and stand with it, but I'd definitely come back and take a look at it too. Dr. Burney saw it before council meeting. It's pretty neat. And
back
we have a
here?
lot of, we have a lot of neat documentation with it, so.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's good. On the 23rd is live at McCord Square with a band called Taste Like Chicken. Stan's really excited about them. I've never heard of them, but apparently they're pretty good, and they draw a pretty good crowd. That is 7 to 9 p.m. on the 23rd. And Party in the Park, which is one of our biggest events of the year, is September 6th, 5 to 8, right out here at Town Hall Park. So, a lot of good fall activities here in McCordsville.
Great. Any questions for Tim?
Oh, Nikki said there's 3 more cars and coffee, so plenty of opportunities.
Oh,
so-
good.
And we're definitely being
We at least
watched.
have one audience member, that's great. Thank you, Nikki. Okay, at this time, we're going to open up for town councilors' comments. Remember, we try to keep this limited to 5 minutes, and it's allowed for any topic that anybody would like. I'll start with Dr. Bernie tonight.
Tonight, I want to call everybody's attention. I'm sure most of you know that Tim's Donuts is facing a daunting situation there with their building. And I wanted to express my personal support, and I hope that all of the other council members and staff join me in applauding Tim and cheering for Tim as he works through this difficult task with his business. And we certainly value Tim's Donuts. I mean, we basically designed our whole solution to traffic and getting across the CSX tracks in a way that wouldn't involve any threat to Tim's Donuts. It was perhaps #1 consideration in redesigning traffic flow at our busiest intersection in town. Anyhow, the town is very supportive of Tim, and I hope everybody understands going forward that there are public health and safety issues, and our primary responsibility is to our citizens. And we'll work to the extent that we can, of course, with our staff, with the Hancock County Public Health Department, and there may be structural engineers involved, and I don't know if a relocation temporarily or permanently could come out of it, but whatever we have to do to help Tim that we can legally and do, I'm certainly supportive of it, whether it's a GoFundMe campaign or involving the RDC in the project somehow. Hopefully it all works out, because we certainly don't want to become the donut hole of Hancock County.
Thank you, Dr. Bernie, appreciate it. Mr. Jones?
Nothing for me.
Mr. Gooding? Good. Mr. Price?
I'm good, thanks.
I would only like to make one small comment. We have a kind of a local golf legend right now, if you've been following the paper. Ressie Lemon is on the Mount Vernon girls golf team, freshman, has won her first 2 of 3 competitions, been the medalist for Mount Vernon. So, so just keep your eye on a great local athlete if you can, and be supportive, because she is going to be bringing attention, I think, for the next 4 years to our community, and definitely to our school system. So congratulations to her very beginning of the year, and hopefully she has continued success. With that, just need a motion to approve the vouchers.
So moved.
Second?
There's been a first and second to approve the vouchers. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Our next meeting will be September 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. This meeting